Brandon, it's a pleasure having you here. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be here, Ethan. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Of course. You are so experienced in the industry. You've been doing e-commerce and retail and brick and mortar for so many years. And from what we've chatted before the episode recording, you're kind of a trusted advisors for a lot of companies, right? Being,
Yes.
being involved in so many digital transformation, solving complex business problems for companies. So where do we start? Why don't you probably try to help us understand what do you mean by becoming trusted advisor? How do you go there, analyze, provide some suggestion, improvements? How these processes are usually going
Yep.
on?
That's a great question. I think it all begins with the fact that you, as a trusted advisor, you come with a certain set of skill sets, and experiences, and capabilities, and the opportunity and challenges to come across as a someone who's credible and someone who actually worked in the industry and led retail businesses, but also has been on the other side of the table now to have those really pointed conversations and get to the root cause of the challenge and start to determine what the why is. What are we trying to accomplish here? How are we going to unlock the value? How are we going to transform the company? And how we then prioritize and sequence the transformation. You cannot start with everything and a big bang approach. That it's impossible in this day and age. So you have to start in a crawl run approach to innovation and transformation. And it's more difficult because it involves people, and that's the hardest part. The processes and technology, it definitely is a bit easier, but aligning people, gaining that trust and confidence, and building those relationships is probably the hardest part.
Yes. Usually these transformation are very painful, right? Because it usually involves company culture, people, job descriptions, staffing, right? So how do you manage these type of processes?
Yeah, it's very difficult, but the goal is to again gain trust and confidence, but align the leadership on they have an idea what their North Star goals are, their visions are, and then how we take that visions and start to become more strategic than tactical, and how we better align the organization to meet those needs and opportunities, and aligning themselves the right talent and capabilities to overcome these challenges and start to build a sustainable growth oriented company. So it all starts from the top, then has to start to descend downward and build these what we call change champions or advocates or evangelists to start to spread the word about the why behind this transformation and what we actually doing here and why should I care? How does it impact my role and my team's role? And then once that's established and understood, then the teams can be empowered to execute against that. But it's all about building trust and allowing your teams to execute against the plans and then fully own them and build that vision for the future
Yeah.
versus just being an executive level push.
Yes, yes. And in today's market, what are let's say, the motivations for transformation? Is it more on the outbound, like marketing side? Is it like profitability? Others? Do you see also maybe offline to online? Is it still available in the US? And what are the motivations for this transformation usually these days?
Yeah, in the U.S. market, there's so many disruptions and so many challenges. I think globally, of course, there's we still have a disrupted economy. We still have very high inflation globally, but in the U.S. in particular, the cost of living is high. The operating costs are increasing. The competitive dynamics are always there as new entrants come in and new forces come in and just change consumer behaviors. So the imperative to transform is multifaceted. One is certainly about profitability and growth. Two is about containing costs and become more efficient, reducing redundancies. And three is to become more agile, resilient, and adaptive. And then four is becoming more customer centric. Everything should be about the customer. Uh, as you mentioned, offline, online, there should be a channelless world because the consumer is seamlessly navigating digital commerce and physical stores and engaging with the brands on their terms. So you have to adapt as a retail organization to this new normal. This is where the world is at today, and you need to have the ability to restructure your companies to have that to provide that seamless capability to let the customer and your associates navigate across channels without being siloed. So there's many reasons for transformations. And then the fifth one is about brand equity and relevance. It's very, very hard to build your brand We've seen brands over 100 years old fall into the wayside and become bankrupt. So the challenge is, how do you continue to stay relevant and top of mind in light of so many challenges?
Yeah, I mean, today's industry, there is such an increased focus on operational efficiency and profitability, like maintaining growth while being profitable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an era where managers needs to be more going, like deep dive and zooming in on the different nitty gritty things that are involving their businesses, right? And
Exactly.
exactly. So usually, from what you see right now, managers and leaders are aware that the change is required, and they know exactly what needs to be done, and just they need just help on implementation or execution, or it is just also brainstorming with you about, hey, here is what it is. We feel that there needs some more improvement in this or this area. Why don't you come up with some analysis and just suggestion? Where is the let's say the location or the place in this process that you feel more comfortable to jump in? Is it more on the analysis phase, implementation phase, execution?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I guess you're involved in all of them, but
Yeah, great question. I think it's the transformative mindset is probably the hardest, because I've been in early part of my consulting career, and probably the mid part was heavily engaged with delivery and working on implementations that were already defined, already aligned on, already agreed to, and the mission statements were there. The hardest part now at the stage of my career is with transformation is the ambiguity and the lack of clarity of what the real problem is. And a lot of times retailers in the U.S. can't see can't see through the forest, all the trees and all the noise and all the challenges they're going through and running their business, that they need that outside perspective from a consultant or advisor or partner of
mm-hmm.
what the art of the possible could be. And then taking all the constraints away and starting to think that mindset, what can we do if we were unconstrained, without budget limitations and everything else, organizational challenges? What can we then How can we transform our company together? And that's where I come in as a key partner and advisor. And then from there, you'll obviously curate and refine your strategies and prioritize and sequence them based on budgetary constraints and prioritization of the company's mission and goals, especially if they're a public company. So there's a whole ideation process and funnel they have to go through. And as a consulting and advisor from the outside, it's clear to come in with those really thought provoking ideas and what other organizations are doing things well, and provide those perspectives to change the mindset and
Mm-hmm.
really drive what's really
Yes.
possible.
Yes. And I know you've been involved in some projects, digital transformation project that took years, right, to implement.
Sure.
And some of them are maybe like one off. You come to the organization, you see
Mm-hmm.
some like, really significant and quick implementation you can make who has major effect, right, on performance. I'd love to learn more about this longer term type of engagement, of transformation.
Yes.
Uh, and maybe let's take just another example for like the other side of the spectrum, which is like something really quick, really fast that companies can do today to
Yeah.
improve operational efficiencies.
Yeah. I think the first part of your question is the long term.
Yeah.
I think the long term, what we talked about 10 to 15 years ago, you had a bit more flexibility, a bit more opportunity of taking your time and building these strategies and engaging your teams on a part-time basis, and it's more linear, waterfallish kind of approach to projects, and then you
Mhm.
don't actually receive any benefit of the value until the end of the engagement, and you're live and you've done all your testing and your training. The world has changed, so now we're more agile, product centric, digital first, and you have to continually provide incremental value, incremental products, enhancements, and everything else to draw value quicker, because we do not have the luxury of time. If you took a 2 or 3 year roadmap or landscape, the world has changed from a technology, from a consumer behavior perspective, from a competition landscape. So the agile way of thinking, the product centric way of thinking, and being customer centric requires you on that long term transformation to just have an agile mindset where you're incrementally providing value and new products and new features throughout that life cycle, not waiting to 2, 3 years at the end of the roadmap.
Sure.
Okay, we're live, and those days are over, because it's
Yes.
impossible to keep up with the rate of change and the acceleration of digital to really draw the benefits. So I've really embraced the whole agile centric way of thinking and running programs and projects that way. But it helps to align with a transformative, product centric, customer centric mindset.
Yeah. So there are two themes here, right? So agility and customer centric. So I'd like to explore more. I mean, it seems like we are in an era that of a quick experimentation, like
Mm-hmm.
move fast, break things, don't be afraid, right? So
Yeah,
what is it for you, agility? What it means? Because it's a big word, but probably encompasses a lot of things, right?
it does. Agility is crucial. I think there are organizational constraints, technology constraints are always considered, but these, we need to unbound that way of thinking. The mindset is to what can we do to the organization? How far can we stretch it without breaking it? You keep your core tenets, what you are as an organization, your mission, your goals, but you always need to be on the lookout for new ways of working, becoming more collaborative, breaking down the silos of the organization. So supply chain works with store operations, and e-commerce is working in tune with merchandising. Product development is working with the customer insights and data teams, and there's a constant loop of information, constant collaboration that's unconstrained, and that's very challenging. But the pain you go through will have significant benefits in the future, especially as you become again more agile, more product centric, customer centric.
Yes, yes. And how customer centric influences your processes and your way of work and implementation within the organization.
It's everything. Customer centricity is probably one of the most keys to success. Fundamentally, if you're not listening to your customer, you're already lost. And the customer doesn't want to fill out surveys. They don't want to, do any additional work. That you should have enough transactional information about the customer, what they're discovering. You have first party data. You also could leverage social insights, and there's a whole path to discovery through disparate channels that you should be able to track and understand. And in most cases, through native apps, customers are willing to share their personal information in exchange for loyalty, for benefits, and everything else. But that exchange has to be one that's going to drive really personalized experiences and promotions and things that are quality of need to the customer. So without a customer-centric approach, the whole retail value chain will break. Everything
Sure.
from product development to fulfillment in store or fulfillment in the home. So it has to be the center of every strategy now.
Yes, it's all it needs to be based on data, right?
There's
So
yes,
there's no like the bullshit factor has zero effect, right, on these processes. Sorry
no,
for my language, but yeah, I mean, it's how do you gather all this information? Because attribution today is also very, very difficult, right? And definitely on an omni-channel scenario, it's so
yes,
difficult to really know what's really, where this purchase actually started. Customer journeys are getting more complicated.
there are.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think in the past you can build customer personas quite easily compared to today. Now
Yeah.
the generational differences between a Gen Alpha or a Gen Z or Gen X or Millennial is very different, but within there, there's subcategories. For those, like you mentioned, Ethan, there's many paths to purchase now, and discovery can happen in the store. Discovery can happen on TikTok. Discovery can happen on Instagram. It
Yeah.
can happen anywhere. So data and insights cut out the BS. I mean, you have to have access to the information in an easily consumable, actionable format with clear vision of what's happening and with the right KPIs. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges we see. My new role at Kyndryl, is how do you consolidate so many different data sources from systems that are over 30 years old in a modern world that requires immediacy, requires resiliency, requires everyone in every role in retail to be data first, data centric, customer centric. But without the tools and the ability to take this data and become more strategic, less tactical, it's extremely challenging. But there are tools and technologies and to consolidate all these data into a consumable format and start to use BI reports and other dashboards or fully integrate it. And the buzzword of today, obviously, is Gen AI. It's probably the next topic we can talk about. It's what do you do with the data? Now that you have it, can you generate new ideas, and how do you become more intelligent with it?
Yes. It's like it seems that everything is getting more and more complicated, although I would say it requires more expertise, like both on the marketing side, on backend supply chain warehousing. I mean, more markets, more communities,
Mhm.
more customer segments, more way of purchase, way of payments, way of shipping, ways
Yep.
of shipping, and and then on the other side you have a lot of data tools, right? A lot of
Right.
companies like it's a overflow of solutions out there. What does it mean, you think, for brands and retailers, how they can cope with all this, speed of advancement of technology and also customer journey, customer behaviors, probably, and customer expectation?
Yep. Great question, Ethan. I think it's a cautionary tale. I think retailers may let technology get in their way and think they have to chase every shiny object, everything new innovation they need to go after. GenAI is the main one right now.
Hmm.
But fundamentally, if you're not executing at the store level, if your website, if your app or your website or your social platforms are not performing well, or your product quality has dropped off, or your pricing and promotion strategies aren't good, these are the fundamentals of retail that will be intact regardless of what technology is out there. So I think the challenge is, how do you weave in new innovation to technology that add value to your already existing brand? How do you keep your brand equity without letting technology become an inhibitor? Because there's a learning curve for your customers and a
Yeah.
learning curve for your associates of leveraging this technology while being true to the brand mission and the brand statements and what your North Star goals are. So it does point back to that becoming agile, product centric, and then incrementally layer in as part of the innovation cycle new technologies and new capabilities that will actually add value to your
Okay.
brand and help drive better business and better experiences. So it's the cautionary tale again is, you do not have to chase every single innovation, but you have to obviously continuously evolve as a brand and innovate. Otherwise, without innovation, you're becoming irrelevant very quickly.
Yes. So we definitely agree that innovation is required. It's getting more and more complex. You need
Mhm.
experts, you need more agencies, like in every micro category of your business. And in
Absolutely.
parallel to all that, the good thing is that more and more opportunities are evolving and disrupting the market right now. So, what are the major trends that you currently see, right, as opportunities for companies up?
Yeah, there's a couple of them that I'm seeing. It's I think the supply chain perspective is there's a more regionalization of supply chain. I think Amazon has set the bar so high, with same day delivery now and fulfillment, flexible fulfillment strategies. So I think retailers have the benefit of stores where they can drive better experiences of buy online, pick up in store, to engage with consumers, to allow them to shop via the apps and go to the store, pick the products up. That will drive efficiencies and drive opportunities for upselling. I think social commerce, the second one, is bigger, become bigger. So live streaming, activating new customers through social commerce,
Mhm.
engaging on TikTok and Instagram and other platforms, just to build the brand equity and the brand and the community beyond the stores. But I think third one's the physical stores are as relevant as ever. I think there's this misconception that retail in the U.S. or globally is on the down cycle. That there is an apocalypse. There's I was calling evolution. So it's just, there are going to be stores that close, but there is also new formats and new experiences that are emerging. And the store still generates 85 to 88% of the business, and probably has influences buying decisions, whether they buy it in a store or via digital apps.
Yeah.
Um, I think the next one is retail media networks as an emerging theme, emerging opportunity, and a way to derive no value for the vendor partners, but also to engage with customers, and to, again, more data insights will come out of that. That will allow you to personalize offers and build more loyalty with consumers, better pricing and promotions, so that, again, there's retailers and grocers who are experiencing really compressed margins and profitabilities.
Mhm.
It's challenging to achieve profitability goals and revenue goals, and you always got to seek new ways to drive new revenues. And what better place than retail media networks? So, there's a couple. Yeah.
Sure. What do you think about brands going multi-channel and happy to share their profits with other networks, right? Because on one side, the cost of acquisition, like advertising on Meta or Amazon, is obviously ROAS are
Right.
decreasing, and cost of advertising is increasing. CPCs are increasing on the rise, and then you can do a ref share probably, right, with
Yeah.
TikTok or with other platforms. What do you
Hmm.
think about this multi-channel? What are the challenges to support these multi-channel strategies? Because they're getting more and more complex. Like every network has is its own community technology set, sets of APIs and expertise that are required to be successful in each and every one of them.
You're right. I think the first thing is it's an evolution of how you operate, and it requires new skill sets and capabilities. And building a retail media network from the ground up is not an easy feat. I mean, there's only a handful of firms that are doing this well. I mean, maybe Kroger and
Hmm.
Amazon, obviously, and many and a few others. But you have to acquire the talent, the capabilities, the tools. The second thing is really it's a collaborative mindset that if we all win, work together, we can win together. And revenue sharing is the way forward, especially as you have to go where the customers are. If they go into social
Hmm.
channels, you need to be there versus traditional ones. If you go into the stores, there's digital media and signage there as well. So
Yes.
the ability of going where the consumers are and engaging them on their terms is critical. And then the third one is really how do you then take all the insights and valuable data points you have from the retail media to not only drive profitability and growth, but then take that and build actions against that, start to change your strategies of merchandising, product development, pricing, promotions,
Hmm.
because there's an infinite loop of communication and feedback that's happening between your vendor partners, between your customers, and everyone else. So there is an endless opportunity to continue to improve and grow your
Yeah.
own.
Yes. And you mentioned retail media. It's probably one of the most promising area of growth, right? I just received today a new report from LG Ed Solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's really amazing that, like, according to their report, 80% of users, like on
Mm-hmm.
big screen CTV, like the subscription type of services, 80% are preferring or already using ad supported CTV plans.
Yes, right.
Crazy, 80%. And another, I think, a big bonus and a promise to the industry is that 51% of viewers are happy and want to shop on their TV, right? So it's two things here. One is the advertising thing and just deploying your ads, probably
Right.
also on the big screen,
Mm-hmm.
and more shoppable videos, right? And more shoppable type of engagements. Like it's entertainment versus shoppable, or maybe a new experience that is combining both
Right.
entertainment and shoppability type of user experience that is still probably not there in the market, but it still
Right.
needs to be evolved, right?
It will continue to evolve. I think it'll also there'll be some differences and uniqueness between generations.
Hmm.
I think a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha or Millennial may not be on the TV as often. They might
Yeah.
be in the mobile first world where you engage with them there. So again, you need to optimize that experience and ensure it's kind of the ad is seamlessly interwoven. And if you're on TikTok or Instagram these days, it's hard to differentiate between an ad, a paid ad, or sponsored ad and a regular post. So they're getting very unique with their strategies in order to resonate with the next generations.
Yes, yes. So it seems that we're currently in an era where valuation obviously went down and more focus on profitability and real execution,
Mm-hmm.
getting higher valuation if your owned to earned revenues are balanced, if you do sell on multiple channels, just show resilience in the companies. And I
Mm-hmm.
know you also talk a lot about company resiliency. Well, what are some of the tips you can provide, to enhance the resiliency and to help companies transform to this, era, this period, in the industry right now?
Yeah, I think it's not an easy proposition, but it's something that has to be done on necessity. In order to change, even if you're doing well as a company,
Mhm.
even if you're profitable, even if you're meeting shareholder expectations, it's only for the now. Next quarter it could be a totally different experience. Next year it could be dramatically different. Now, I'm a big proponent of disruption, but self-disruption before you are disrupted by the market and consumer is critical. If
Mhm.
you wait 5 to 10 years and then the disruption comes, it's the cautionary tale again because then by then it's too late to change. By then you're in a restructuring cycle of closing endless amounts of stores, of going through layoffs, reducing staff count, and optimizing your operations and in ways to unlock revenues and value, and reducing your cost overload. So my biggest advice and guidance to companies is why wait? We take the time now to assess the landscape, where we are today, how are we competitively positioned against our top competition, and what we need to do in terms of providing the capabilities, the tools to drive that resiliency you talked about, to drive that adaptability, to change as an organization, to continually evolve. And it's very, very hard to do this, but you need to start to sow the seeds so you can benefit from this 2 to 3 or 5 years from now, and have an organization that's prepared for disruption because you've already built that resiliency.
Yes.
But it's easier said than done, and unfortunately, many companies, they go through bankruptcy or they go through insolvency because they haven't adjusted or disrupted themselves in time.
Yes. So for e-commerce leaders out there considering to ask for help or work with the expert like yourself or with other agencies, what do you think should be like the criteria for them to reach out for external help? Like,
Yeah, I think they have to know what they want to achieve as an organization and have at least a North Star vision that they want to, we need to unlock X amount of revenue, we need to unlock X amount of value, and how we get there is probably the challenge. And I think that's where partnering with an expert like myself and others is really okay. Give me a second. Add some value and challenge the process that they're going through to really see where they are organizationally and what they need to do to transform and evolve, and start to identify paths to growth and unlocking value, reducing costs, and setting them up for success in the long term. I think often enough, most companies want to do it themselves, and then they'll hit a brick wall, or organizationally, or there's too many competing priorities. But there is a need to reach out to a partner who understands the business challenges you're going through, who intimately understands what other organizations are doing, have done successfully in the past to adapt and evolve, and 3, have the technology and capabilities to support your business growth and build your path to resiliency. So that's all how we can come in and help.
Great, Brandon. I know you just joined Kyndryl, so
Yes.
tell us more about the company and what excites you with the opportunity.
Yeah, it's been a eventful few weeks. Happy to be in the organization, so getting my feet wet. But it's clear that the company, since they broke out from IBM, they have such a powerful value proposition they offer the industry, and especially in the retail consumer travel group I'm in. There are ways that we can unlock value, reduce costs, and help to transform us organizationally, technology-wise. But I think the unknown fact out there we're looking to change that narrative is we have business strategists like myself who intimately have run retail businesses and grocery businesses, and know what the challenges are, but are really aware of the trends and the pitfalls and opportunities and ways to evolve, but also how we can then work with technology partners across all our practices at Kyndryl to unlock value, increase revenues, reduce costs, and drive better customer and associate experiences. I think there is probably unlimited potential. It's just there's a lot of the art of the possible right now at Kyndryl. So it's exciting times as the company's plan to grow quite a bit this year, and looking to open new doors and have conversations with as many companies as we can.
Interesting. And there is a more specific definition of your ideal customer profile that you're looking at?
Yeah, we're looking at Fortune 100 companies across retail, grocery, travel, hospitality, even smaller ones. But there is, we know in the middle of retail, there's a lot of disruption happening. I think both ends of the spectrum. There's also opportunities in the luxury market, and everything to off-price and dollar stores are experiencing disruption. So there's a lot of opportunity across the entire retail arena and grocery arena. So it's a matter of where we
Sure.
our bets and move forward from there.
It seems that you're very passionate about what you're doing, and you've been doing this for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you're so excited about your role?
Yeah, I think this role and prior roles, they continue to challenge me to just keep my learning curve going and embrace change and adapt. And I've had to just learn new technologies, keep on top of all the trends, and And knowledge is power. The more I know, the more I understand, the more I can really articulate how and the art of the possible, and just keep growing as a professional. So I think the opportunity at Kyndryl is ideal at this stage of my career, and I'm really excited to work with my client partners and technology partners. Kyndryl is big on partnerships, so there'll be lots of chances to work with the Microsofts of the world and others on these engagements. So it should be exciting.
Yes, yes. Great. And Brandon, this is the fun fact part of the episode.
Yeah.
Tell us some unique story or interesting story that most of your professional network are not aware
Um, let's see. Unique stories. Yes. My family is originally from all parts of Eastern Europe. I'm third generation American, as American as they come, but I have ancestors from Poland, from Ukraine, from Lithuania, Estonia, and Belarus. So
of. Wow.
have a core background of Eastern Europe. And then somehow my wife and I met about 22 years ago, and she's from Ukraine. So definitely embrace and appreciate everything about Eastern Europe and the culture. And having grown up American, there's something inside of me that realized, wow, actually, the food's great. I'm learning Russian, learning and speaking another language. So it's been a great experience. We have two children who are bilingual. So I think it's a fun fact. Where
Nice.
most Americans come from somewhere.
Mhm.
So I definitely have come to embrace this whole experience now, and this journey with Margarita, my wife, and the kids. So it's been great.
Nice, nice, Brandon. Thank you for sharing this. And how people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Big part of the LinkedIn community. I'm also a top retail expert through RETHINK Retail. I'm also pretty active on Retail Wire and Twitter, or X as it's called. So you can find me there as well. And reach out to me about Kyndryl and all the exciting opportunities that lie ahead.
Amazing, Brandon. Thank you so much for your time. It's really fascinating.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ethan, for the time. It's been a pleasure.
Wish you all the best in your new role. Good luck.
Thank you. You as well.